The boy opened his golden pupils. He saw a green patch in the broken rock. There was a green color. It was an emerald. So even though he only had $3,000 on him, he still offered $4 million. He wanted to buy the stone. At this moment, the rich kid scoffed. "Do you have that much money? You'd be better off picking it up at a stall." Then he asked his assistant to raise the price to $5 million. Who knows that the young man also got carried away. He bit his tongue and shouted $8 million. His companions were stunned, rushed to stop him. "I can tell you, this round stone looks good on the surface, but no one knows what it will look like when it's cut. If it doesn't turn out to be 2 inches thick, it'll be over." At this point, the second-generation rich man is also a bit hesitant. It's not about money, it's about losing face if he loses the bet. The assistant beside him said confidently, "This round stone must have at least 4 inches of green." The second generation of the rich herd immediately opened the price of $9 million. But this time, the boy did not follow. "After all, we can't compete with him." Finally, he went to the waste rock area. He wanted to buy a low-priced stone for fun. He activated his golden pupils again. This one looks pretty good, so he bought it with his entire fortune of $3,000. He was going to cut the stone on the spot. At that moment, the rich kid came to fool around again. "Spending $3,000 and you want to pick it up? Gambling is different from antiquing." "Who said that? Life is full of leaks. It's up to you whether you can find it or not." The man who spoke was a big shot in the jade industry. He took the stone and examined it carefully. But he didn't think it was a good idea either. "Young man, you seem to have a bit of a hard time picking it up." But he smiled a little. He hadn't cut it yet. "How do you know it's not good?" Then he drew a line on the stone. He told the master to cut according to the line, while the rich kid watched from the back. Soon the first cut was finished. Sure enough, there wasn't even a single green hair. Even the first cut didn't produce any green. "What's the point of cutting? Throw it away." The rich kid almost squealed, but he didn't panic at all. He asked the master to make a second cut. He didn't expect it to be full green this time. "It's worth about $100,000. It's not much, but it's still a small fortune." But he didn't want to stop. He asked the master to make a third cut. Everyone advised him to stop. Just stop. If it all goes wrong, he'll lose everything. But there was no stopping him. The master had to make another cut according to the young man's wish. After cutting, he brought it up and everyone was shocked. Behind this foggy crystal is a block of ice jadeite, a good sunny green. Now the price soared to $18 million. The people next to him immediately rushed to buy it. At this point, the guy said to the rich kid, "This $3,000 has become $18 million. How many times has it doubled?" The rich guy feels like he's been slapped in the face. He immediately asked to open his $9 million stone. He wants his face back. A broken rock can be sold for $9 million. What's the secret inside? The rich kid asked for a live explanation. Sure enough, the first cut was a full green. Someone immediately offered $10 million to buy it. $10 million is fine. It's a net profit of $1 million. But he didn't care about the $1 million. He asked the master to continue cutting, because the jadeite underneath is even greener. Sure enough, after the second cut, the price skyrocketed. The price soared to $30 million. After all, $30 million is not an ice type. I'd sell it if I had to. The guy who said that is called Juan. But it's not so bad if he didn't say anything. But when he said it, he made the rich kid angry. "How can you and I be the same? Keep cutting." The cutter had to do as he was told and continued with the third cut. But before he could open the door, he was greeted with 2 words. "It's over." When my companion heard that, he rushed forward to check it out and saw that there was nothing left. So that's all there is. The buyer who offered $30 million just now took a look, shook his head and left. "It's a good thing we didn't make a deal just now. It's really like one cut is poor and the other is rich. A knife in burlap." At this moment, Huang came forward and said, "It's okay. It's not a big deal for him. But the second generation rich man can only take it. $30 million. I'll give it to you for fun." Then he left with a grimace on his face. But in fact, all this is what Zhuang expected. Before the auction, he used his golden pupils to see. The jade in this stone is only 1 inch. It's not worth much. So when he saw the rich kid looking down on him, he deliberately raised the price. He made the rich kid pay $9 million for the stone. When he was cutting the stone, he deliberately provoked him. He made him make a third cut. In the end, he lost all his money. Don't tell me that Huang looks like a sheep. He's quite a fox when he's cunning. But what's with his golden pupils? It all started with a robbery a few days ago. That night, Huang was on duty at the antique store. Suddenly some robbers came in. During the fight, Zhuang's eyes were accidentally scratched by the antique pieces. When he woke up again, his eye was not only fine, something magical happened. The boy boy's eyes are covered with gauze, but he could see through the gauze and through the concrete wall. He saw the nurse next door without her underwear. This scared him to death. He thought he was hallucinating after his eye injury. Then a friend came to see him and threw him an apple. He was just about to eat it. He could see through the skin that the inside of the apple was bad, and there was a worm crawling inside. He didn't believe it, so he bit into it and saw the worm. Then he looked up. He saw a big mole on the doctor's face. He asked the doctor to take off his mask, and sure enough, that mole was exactly the same as the one he had just seen. Not only that, when he returned to his antique store, he was able to see the past life of an antique through its surface. Zhuang wondered how a scratch on the eye. How did he get supernormal capabilities from it? Back home, my friend took out an old object and showed it to Zhuang. He said he spent 60,000 yuan on it. This little bottle is worth at least a few $100,000. Zhuang took the bottle and activated his golden pupil to take a look. The date of manufacture is a month ago. It's just a handicraft and it's mass-produced. My friend didn't believe it at all. He insisted on dragging Zhuang Rui to the antique market to sell it, but they took a look. Go away. You guys look somewhere else. It's not. I haven't even made an offer yet. Don't keep me from doing business. Let's go to another place. My friend went to a second house, still looking mysterious. Boss, I've got something 100 years old here. Are you interested? When the boss heard that, his eyes lit up. I asked him to show it to me, and then he held up 5 fingers. Zhuang was so happy, and his friend was so angry that he was about to move on to another one. But at that moment, Zhuang suddenly saw the gourd in the boss's hand. It's a valuable old item, so he asked him if he'd sell it. The owner asked for 2,000 yuan. He obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. Of course he'd be happy to sell it, but his friend stopped him from buying a broken gourd for 2,000 yuan. Are you stupid? He dragged him away. The boss stops him right away. Take the 600 yuan. Zhuang took out the money and gave it to the boss. At that moment, the rich kid's girlfriend also saw the gourd, so he offered 10,000 yuan to buy the gourd. When my friend sees that he's here again, he offered $50,000. Fine, 50,000 is fine. It's just a black gourd. But Zhuang Zhuang said it's not black, it's red. What's wrong with your eyes? It's obviously black. Tell me where he's red. Maybe it's really red. The speaker is Uncle Tay, a master of the antique world. He was just passing by, so we asked him to take a look, but he only took one look at the gourd. He offered $100,000 for the gourd. The rich kid laughed at the price of $100,000. Are you all trying to fool me? It's not black. It's red. Seeing that he didn't believe me, Uncle Tay ordered someone to bring me some oil and gauze. Just a little rubbing and the red color immediately appeared. Uncle Tay said this is a famous Three Rivers gourd from the Guangxu period. It has a relaxed body and a solid skin. It's comfortable for grasshoppers to live in. The sound is more mellow and louder. It was the most sought-after gourd at that time. That's why the asking price was less than $100,000. When the boss heard that, I was really a fool. I gave away 600 for such a good treasure. At that moment, the second-generation rich man said, I'll take this gourd for $300,000. But the boss offered $600,000 to take the gourd back. $800,000. The boss saw that he couldn't put up a fight and turned around to leave. In just a few minutes, $600 became $800,000. That's great. That's how the two of them made their first pot of money.